What did Donald Trump mean? You don't do that. You don't take on a
No.
nation that's 10 times your size.
Ben, it never would have been invaded. Period. End of story.
It's not what I asked, Mr. Gorka.
I don't care what you asked. Then
Wait.
I will end the interview.
Let me just...
When a politician says something indefensible, their surrogates usually have three moves: deny it, spin it, or attack the interviewer. Today, we have a rare masterclass where a senior White House official tries all three in under 6 minutes. Donald Trump went on Fox News and claimed that Ukraine should never have taken on a nation 10 times its size. A statement that explicitly frames Ukraine as the aggressor for defending itself against an unprovoked invasion. When senior White House official Sebastian Gorka was asked a simple, fundamental question, what did Donald Trump mean by that? He couldn't answer. Instead, he threw a temper tantrum on live television, threatened to walk off the set, called the host a child, and eventually started floating stolen election conspiracies to burn airtime. It is a complete structural breakdown of official White House messaging, caught entirely on tape. I'm Neil. This is the honest perspective. We hold power accountable, track the receipts, and separate political spin from objective reality. Let's get into it.
Does President Trump blame Ukraine for this war? Because he told Fox News yesterday, it's not a war that should have started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size, which seems to me to be suggesting that Ukraine should have let itself be invaded and not responded.
No, that's a hackneyed talking point of the gutter press. We don't blame Ukraine for being invaded. That's asinine, that's moronic, that's imbecilic.
What did he mean? You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size. What does that mean?
The bottom line is the following. When President Trump was the commander-in-chief the first time around, there were no new wars. We didn't have Russia invading anyone. It's interesting that Russia only aggrandized its territory when Obama was in office, when Biden was in office. So what the president is making very clear, which is simply an empirical statement of fact, the world is a safer place when he is behind the resolute desk in the Oval.
The point about you don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size, I mean, Ukraine didn't take on Russia. Russia invaded unprovoked and Ukraine sought to defend itself. So what does he mean by that? You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size.
We're not casting aspersions and we are not blaming Kiev at all. So the fact is, when President Trump is the commander-in-chief, the world is a safer place. We've seen it's hard to keep up with the president, and he is our boss here in the White House. We've had more than half a dozen peace treaties since he entered office, whether it's in Africa, whether it's Armenia, Azerbaijan. So let's just talk about the facts. When the left is in control, the world is a powder keg. And I'm not. You can try and interrupt me again and ask me the question for a third time.
I'm just going to bring you back to the first one, if I could.
The bottom line is everybody is safer.
All right, I hear your point on that. I hear your point. It's a
House.
slightly separate one I asked you, which was just what President Trump meant when he said in relation to Ukraine, you don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size. What does he think Ukraine should have done differently in this conflict?
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals because if he had been in the White House... No. If he had been in the White House, if the Democrats hasn't stolen the election the last time around...
Mr. Gorka, that's not what I'm asking you about.
It's a completely... Ben, you've got to stop now. Ben,
you're answering a question I haven't asked you.
You've interrupted me 6 times.
Because you haven't answered my question.
If you don't like the answer, you can terminate the interview.
It's not
but
an
if you
answer.
want to actually let me speak, I will tell you...
What did Donald Trump mean? You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size.
Ben, it never would have been invaded. Period. End of story.
It's not what I asked, Mr. Gorka.
I don't care what you asked. I'm giving you the truth. I'm giving you... No, because you're using an... If you want to ask him what he meant, try and get an interview with him. I am your subject. Can you help us out with that, Mr. Gorka? I'm happy to, but only if you don't do the classic prevarication and interruption, because we're not interested in fake news, okay?
Let me just
very
phrase.
Simple.
Let me phrase. It's no fake news here. Let me phrase it a slightly different way.
Then I will end the interview.
Let me just
notice what just happened there. Gorka called the host's question a hackneyed talking point of the gutter press, but the host wasn't reading from a tabloid. He was quoting Donald Trump verbatim. When pressed on how a nation gets invaded unprovoked and then gets accused of taking on the attacker, Gorka couldn't defend the logic. He couldn't reconcile official White House policy with Trump's off-the-cuff statements. So what did he do? He tried to intimidate the journalist. He threatened to cut the feed. And when that failed, he blurted out that the Democrats stole the last election. A completely unprompted retreat into election denialism just to avoid answering. Watch how the host recalibrates in part 2 to ask a simple, binary question about who was actually in the wrong.
I'll ask you a slightly different way then. Is it the view of the Trump administration?
Do not ask me another way, because I simply will not answer.
Is it the view of the Trump administration that Vladimir Putin was wrong to invade Ukraine?
Don't be fake.
Not fake news. Really simple question.
I'm not going to do this for the 7th time.
Okay, different question then. Was Vladimir Putin wrong to invade Ukraine?
Of course. Absolutely.
But Donald Trump keeps saying, it's NATO, this, it was... Donald Trump seems to keep suggesting that ultimately it's Ukraine's fault that they got invaded.
Seems to suggest.
He does.
That's just not journalism.
This war was about NATO, he said at the weekend. Was it? I thought it was about Russian imperialism.
You just can't give it up, can you? There's no person in the world, nobody right now, not van der Leyen, no one, not a prime minister, not any other president, who can stop the bloodshed. And all you want to do is,
but he
seems to say that.
He hasn't stopped the bloodshed yet. Ukrainian children are dying this week.
Okay, and you're going to fix it?
I'm not going to fix it. No one's going to listen to me. I'm not the president I'm not the leader of the free world.
Right. There's one person who's going to stop it, and it's not you, and it's not any other head of state in the world. It's the man who's sitting in the White House. That's it. And if you want to continue to do silly gotcha questions,
not silly gotcha questions at all.
What does he see?
Perfectly reasonable question.
Look, of course.
When will it end? When would you expect this war to end, Mr. Gorka? Well,
if you listen to what the Premier of Ukraine said less than 24 hours ago, it could end very, very soon. So do you want to cast aspersions against Zelensky now?
No.
Even when Gorka finally concedes that Vladimir Putin was wrong to invade, he still can't stop deflecting. The host points out that Trump publicly blamed NATO for the invasion, while history shows it was about Russian imperial ambition. Gorka's response? He claims that only one person in the world can stop the bloodshed, framing any basic journalistic question as an attack on peace efforts. It's a classic rhetorical shield. Treat any press accountability as bad faith while claiming sole credit for diplomatic outcomes that haven't materialized. Now, in part 3, watch what happens when the interviewer holds him to the specific timeline promised on the campaign trail.
Not at all. I just asked because, of course, President Trump said, I will end this war on day 1. We're now on day, well, you tell me, we're well into 6 months in office.
But that's the important thing, isn't it, right? It's for you to score points against the president.
I'm just asking when this bloody, brutal war will end.
We know what you're doing, Ben. You're trying to score points because you don't like the president.
Just asking you when the war, in your view, as the Senior Director for Counterterrorism...
I don't have a crystal ball. Do you have a crystal ball?
I'm not privy to these talks. I'm not the Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States of America,
even if you were privy to them, can you predict the future? I've yet to know a human being who can predict the future.
Do you think the war will still, in your view, do you think the war will still be waging at the end of this year?
I pray to the Lord above that it's not, and I think that we have the greatest chance ever right now to stop the bloodshed imminently.
Why do you think President Trump wasn't able to end it on day 1, like he promised?
Oh, you're a child. Stop it, Ben.
No, he made that promise to the American people.
Stop it, Ben. Stop it, Ben.
Why is it taking so long?
You really don't care about the suffering, do you? You just want to score points.
Not at all.
What you do. All you can do is bring it back to he said that, he said this. Why don't we talk about the fact that only one person can do what happened in Alaska. Only one person can do what happened in the White House on Monday. But no, you want to score points. It's pathetic. Grow up, Ben.
It's my job.
Grow up, Ben.
It's my job to hold people in positions of power, like you and the Trump administration, to account and to compare what you said to what you've done.
Points.
And I'm not saying President Trump hasn't made progress. I'm simply saying he promised one thing, and right now that promise hasn't been delivered. You can't dispute that.
I'm not here for you to score points against the president.
But you can't dispute the fact that he said more than 60 times, I'll end the war on day 1. And we're 6 months in.
If you bring this back one more time, you have demonstrated that you're a child and you're not actually a journalist.
Why can't you answer that? Why can't you answer it?
Because I'm not here to score points against the man 80 million people chose as a commander-in-chief. It's not my job.
Do you accept?
You may think it is your job, but it's not.
Do you accept it's an unfulfilled, perhaps a broken promise at this point in time?
I'm not going to answer your stupid, childish questions.
All right, we'll leave.
What you just witnessed isn't just a contentious interview. It's the core vulnerability of surrogate messaging in this administration. Gorka spent that entire final segment repeatedly calling a journalist a child and claiming the host didn't care about human suffering. Why? Because the host pointed out a simple mathematical fact. Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail, more than 60 separate times, that he would end the war in Ukraine on day one. We are 6 months into the term, the war is still waging, Ukrainian civilians are still dying, and when asked why that promise hasn't been kept, the White House spokesperson calls the question stupid and childish. This is a classic political tactic. When you cannot defend the record, you attack the motive of the person asking. You claim they are trying to score points. But holding public officials to the exact words spoken by their commander-in-chief isn't point scoring. It is the fundamental duty of press accountability. Trump himself admitted in the Oval Office that resolving the conflict has been far more complex than he anticipated. Yet his staff remains completely incapable of admitting that simple reality on air. Instead of providing a coherent diplomatic strategy or explaining what changed on the ground, Gorka relied on bluster, personal insults, and appeals to authority, asserting that only one man can fix global security while offering zero receipts on how that fix is actually happening. If you believe that public officials should be held accountable to the statements they make and the promises they issue, subscribe to The Honest Perspective. I'm Neil. Truth over access, people over profits. That's The Honest Perspective, and that's where I'll leave you.